Hi, I'm John Mallos. Welcome to this live edition of Connect With Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this Tuesday morning. Glad you're here. Today it's a first-time guest. We're talking about a nonprofit organization that helps youngsters and teenagers and all types across the Central Valley. Been around for a long time, many decades. 436-ME-TV option 11. And you can call in and weigh in on today's program. Back in a moment.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
Back here on the program on a Tuesday morning. Glad you're here on Connect With Me on MeTV Fresno again for another live broadcast after being on vacation last week. So you can call in, and the number, you already know it, 436-ME-TV option 11. A little bit of a quick programming note. Tomorrow, Doug Vagum is going to be here. He's our go-to guy on just about everything. I like Doug Vagum, and I've talked to him for many years now about issues here in the city of Fresno. And you know what? I'm still trying to debate what we're going to talk to Doug about tomorrow on the program. We could talk about all sorts of things. You know, that Fulton Mall, that street's not going to open up until October. There's a health care issue that's being voted on by the Senate this afternoon at the U.S. Capitol. We don't know what that's about. They don't know what they're voting on. It's kind of an open bill, so we'll see what happens there. And there are all sorts of issues right here in the Central Valley, like water and other issues. So Doug is kind of like a go-to guy. He has knowledge on just about everything, my friends. So that's tomorrow's program. Thursday, Friday, you know what? I forget who is on Thursday and Friday right now. It slips my mind. I'd have to take a look at our calendar. Doesn't matter. It's going to be a great show anyway, so you got to watch and call in. For now, you're watching us live on Comcast, channel 375 as usual, Monday through Friday, live 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock in the morning. Last 5 years we've been here. Anyway, it's Comcast, but if you don't have it, 43.6 and 13.1 over-the-air broadcast. If you want to buy those digital antennas, and it's a digital television antenna hanging from the rafters right here at Ventura TV. Anyway, the replay comes up at your on your television dial, 13.6 YouTube, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. By the way, that's California time. Just want to let you know. 8 o'clock tonight, California time. 4.6 Biz TV. And then you can watch the replays of all these programs any time of day or night that you like. Today we're going to talk a little bit. I don't know how much the focus is going to be. We'll see where this interview goes, but I want to talk about the organization, but I also want to talk a little bit about how violence is up in Fresno, the city of Fresno. That is no secret, my friends. In fact, gang violence is on the rise. Police Chief Jerry Dyer just recently called for all gangs across the city of Fresno. He called upon them to have a ceasefire. I've never heard that before, and I've been in Fresno since 1996. I've never heard a police chief call for a ceasefire with these gang members. Interesting. Roll the videotape, show you exactly what I'm talking about for today's program. Here he is with the mayor, Lee Brand, holding a news conference regarding the shooting death of Kayla Foster. She was the 18-year-old niece of Keith Foster, the former deputy police chief. In May, police say that Kayla was standing outside with friends along the 2100 block of South Bardell when Kayla was shot dead around 2 o'clock in the morning. Authorities do not believe she was the main target. She was a senior at Central High School about to graduate. The murder rate here in Fresno this year is up close to 40. So the question begs, who will step in to stop all the senseless killings? Young boys and girls, teenagers on the street who have no role models to speak of. Will it be law enforcement or like a rescue group to come in and try to rehabilitate? How about an organization that's been around for about 73 years, started by televangelist Billy Graham and Tori Johnson, a Baptist minister out of Chicago during World War II. It's called Youth for Christ, a worldwide Christian movement that targets young people, including here in the Central Valley.
I've had 2 kids in the last 10 months go to jail. 1 kid get pregnant. I mean, these are the kids that we're trying to reach. They aren't kids that are in the fold who are doing great and just need a little pat on the back. We're trying to reach kids who are truly lost. It's a crazy world out there, and there's a culture out there that doesn't care about you. All they want is your life.
12, 13, 14-year-old student, and they came in and shared with a group of girls, about 60 of them. She was pregnant with her 2nd baby.
The kids that I took were actually kids that normally wouldn't go to church. They're kids that, they usually smoke or like drink alcohol.
Family has been involved in gangs, and he doesn't want to go down that path.
Started gangbanging, started hurting people, started trying to fill that void in my heart.
I didn't really consider myself being in a gang. It was just I was with friends, and before I knew it, I was in the gang.
What it's like to be born into a gang, to be told that you don't even have to be jumped into because your dad and your uncles and your brothers are bulldogs or gang members, and that's what you are already. You don't have a choice.
Live in our studio right now is Ed Kaczmark. He is the Executive Director of Youth for Christ right here in the Central Valley. I think he's been around about 10, 11 years as the Executive Director. We'll get his take on what's going on. We'll also talk about his organization, the one that he runs. He's the Executive Director, Youth for Christ. What do they do? What are they all about? How do they help teens? And we'll talk about that and much more. Your phone calls are very important, as you know. When I first moved to Fresno back in 1996, pull up to a red light, don't even look at the car next to you. That's how bad it was. Are we getting to that point again? There are more people living here now in the city of Fresno than back 20, 21, 22 years ago. So call in, weigh in. Are you afraid to go outside, even at night? We're back here on Connect with Me TV Fresno, with Ed Kaczmark, the Executive Director, in a moment.
Not sure what you're watching? Want to see what's coming up next? Or just want to browse what's on without the hassle of flipping channels? Your wish has come true. Now you can view schedules for all the digital TV channels available in the Central Valley. Get local weather updates and forecasts, and listen to nationally syndicated Biz Talk Radio, all on KVHF 4.1. Rescan your TV now, then tune in to Digital Channel 4.1 to start enjoying the all-new TV guide.
Frigidaire. It means the first electric refrigerator. The first compact electric range. Now, there's the Frigidaire Gallery Range with Symmetry double ovens. It's designed to cook multiple dishes at multiple temperatures, so you can prepare the entire meal at the same time. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
Back here on the program, Connect with Me TV Fresno. Ed Kaczmark is here. He is the Executive Director of Youth for Christ. And I appreciate your coming in. I know you're very busy, big organization, to say the least. Ed, welcome.
Thank you very much, John.
Okay, a couple of questions just right off the bat, and that is, nobody seems to have the answer to this gang violence. We're approaching 40 murders again here in the city of Fresno. A long time ago, when I first moved, Jim Patterson was the mayor of Fresno. We approached 100. We could get close to like 90 this year at the current pace that we're going. What's the answer? I don't know what the answer is. I'm baffled by this.
Well, the answer, in my opinion, John, is complicated. And yet, at the same time, because I'm part of Youth for Christ, I'm not shy to share that we believe the ultimate answer is a relationship with Christ. But the complexity ahead of that is what our work is all about. It's about relationships with kids. And the violence in Fresno, I believe, starts at a very early age. It starts at home.
What age? What age do you
Well,
think?
it starts at 0. It starts at home. It starts at, let's look at what the home situation is for kids all over the valley, for kids in Fresno County. And if a kid starts life without a foundation of any kind, no parents at home, one parent at home, we see so often families where parents are struggling. The mom is struggling with drugs. The dad is incarcerated. Dad's not around. Sometimes kids are in abusive situations. If you start from zero or negative, then you've got a long way to go to get into a situation where a kid can have a healthy life.
Well, let me ask you something, because, I mean, look, I'm no youngster, and I've heard this all my life. Gee, you know, that kid didn't have a mother or a father, or that kid, you know, their parents were in jail, or they were involved in an abusive situation, or they came from a drug-ridden family. Are these I've heard this all of my life, and I'm not passing it off as insignificant. But what I'm saying is, are these excuses?
Well, I think you can find any number of adults who have made it through. In other words, have taken adversity and turned it into a success story. And we're thankful for that, and we believe in that. We believe every kid can have those kinds of opportunities. Every kid can take a broken home life and start making great choices and great decisions and end up in a great successful situation and a successful family. But what we believe is that there is baggage that has to be dealt with in a kid's life. If a kid starts from zero or starts with a real tough background, they've got a longer road to go, a steeper hill to climb. And that's where we come in and try to help them make those great choices.
Okay, in the case of Kayla Foster, I'm sure she was a great teenager. I'm sure, you know, I don't know anything about her or her family life or what it was like, but I'm sure she was a fine student. She went to Central High, about to graduate. But the fact of the matter is, you can be a good kid, a bad kid, an indifferent kid, whatever type of kid, it doesn't matter. But a kid that's out at 2 in the morning, she, you know, maybe shouldn't have been there at 2 in the morning. And I'm not justifying the shooting because it took place at 2 in the morning. No one should be shooting off a gun at anyone, whether it's 2 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But these types of things happen more often than not after 10 o'clock at night, after midnight. These kids shouldn't be on the street. Am I right?
Understood. And I will just say that I have
I'm not blaming the victim. I'm not blaming the victim.
Understood.
I'm just saying that all too often these kids need to be taken off the street after a certain time frame.
Sure. And John, I work with teenagers. I've worked with teenagers for 25 some years, not only with Youth for Christ, but before I started with Youth for Christ about 11 years ago. And I also now love and enjoy my own teenage kids. And I often say to them, nothing good happens after midnight. You kind of lose inhibition when you are tired and you've been out a long time and maybe partying. And so we say to kids all the time, make great choices. And what mentors do in the lives of a kid is help them make great choices. Great mentors ask great questions. So a mentor might ask a kid, how's that working for you, staying up after midnight? How's that working for you with your grades, with your relationships at home, with your health? And we help kids see and help kids make better choices, because a lot of times they don't have that mentor at home that is with them every day, helping them make good decisions.
I'm going to get into the religious aspect here before we go to break, just briefly. There are teenagers here in the city of Fresno, the Central Valley, that are of all sorts of different types of faith. They may not believe in Christ. They might believe in Allah. They might be Jewish. How do you deal with a kid that doesn't believe in God, doesn't believe in Christ, doesn't believe in any kind of religion, maybe is an atheist, maybe the teenager doesn't even know what an atheist is, but doesn't believe that there is a higher being or a supreme being that controls everything? How do you reach that kid?
That's a great question. You know, we at Youth for Christ are a team of 15 staff.
Do you have to believe in Christ to be a part of it?
And our 15 staff and our 120 volunteers do affirm a statement of faith. We are a Christian organization.
Well, what about the kids that you're helping? Do they have to believe?
That's the beauty of our organization, John, is we do not discriminate on the basis of religion for the services that we provide.
Okay.
We also, let me just be really frank, we're not going to cram religion down anybody's throat. We are a faith-based organization that loves our mission of sharing Christ with kids and sharing positive values with kids. And so a kid that's a Muslim or Hindu or of no faith whatsoever can come to our programs, which by and large, almost all of the things that we do are free opportunities for kids. And these kids can come to these opportunities. They will ultimately be invited to hear about Christ, not crammed down anybody's throat, not forced, not twisted arms, but they will hear about Christ and have the opportunity to make a decision about what they think about Christ. But if they decide, I don't want anything to do with that, we still love that kid. We're all about
help that kid.
Love and relationships, and the collateral improvements that we see in loving kids is every kind of decision
Is there a
better.
cost for the family, for their child to go to Youth for Christ? Is there a cost involved?
The way our organization works is we are at about 35 different sites or locations in Fresno and Madera counties.
Right.
So that's juvenile hall. That's different middle school and high school campuses. That is meetings that take place after school hours, might be at a
So
church
it's no cost,
location.
right?
No cost to go to these programs. We do have one program downtown, which is our martial arts program, that we charge a nominal fee for involvement, which we believe helps kids have buy-in to that program and ultimately helps them do better because they are bought in to coming weekly to that martial arts workout program.
All right, as Ed Kaczmark is here, he is the Executive Director of Youth for Christ, 436 MeTV Option 11. What do you think about all the gang violence? And what do you think about an organization that's been helping? The question I have on the other side of the break is, okay, Youth for Christ has been here a long time, right? Why do we still have all this violence? Why? All these questions. Back in just a moment. Connect with me on MeTV Fresno.
Take a look at this. Let's play.
This is too hip for you. I'll slow down.
Let's play.
Watch all your favorite classic game shows on Buzzer TV, KBBC Digital Channel 13.7.
When you're looking for KitchenAid innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, we'll help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified KitchenAid appliances save you energy and money and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
We aren't looking for those who want a job. We aren't looking for those who want to check a box or fulfill a commitment. We're looking for those who are passionate, for those who are brave, for those who want the name above all names to be known. It's not going to be easy. At some point, you'll walk into a room of teens you barely know, but you'll walk in with purpose. You'll walk in to build relationships with teens who otherwise may never hear the name. That beautiful name. The name that gives mercy and grace to the broken and weary. In his name, you'll tread the hallways of schools. In his name, you'll act a little crazy. You'll sit knee to knee with a kid in jail. You'll visit a teen parent in the hospital. In his name, you'll text long into the night. Christ bids you come and join him. Join him in the great work of making disciples among teens. Youth for Christ is actively looking for volunteers to join this great mission of giving life to the stories of teens. They need you to listen, to care, and to faithfully point them towards Christ. If this is you, if you're passionate for Christ, if you're willing to take a risk in his name and speak truth, then come join us. Reach the lost.
Back here on the program, Ed Kaczmark is here. He is the Executive Director of Youth for Christ here in the Central Valley. How many campuses across the Central Valley do you have?
We're at about 24 campuses now, John, middle school and high school in Madera and in Fresno.
And when you say campuses, what does that mean, literally? Because you have, you actually have houses, don't you?
We do have one new facility that it's a remodeled home I'd love to tell you more about. But
Northwest Fresno?
It's in Northeast Fresno on
Fresno,
Chestnut
okay.
near Shepherd.
Okay.
We call it our Campus Life Center.
Okay, and we may or may not have some video of that. I'm not sure here. We'll take a look at that in just a little while. But continuing with the interview, my question before the break was, here's an organization that's been around a long time. Why can't Youth for Christ get a handle on some of this violence?
That's a great challenging question. I believe that when you look at our impact and we meet up with 6,000 plus kids a year.
Yeah.
We are in relationships with, let's say, approximately 2,000 of those 6,000 that we meet and then become in a closer relationship with. And so you might call it a mentoring relationship with 1,500, 2,000 kids. We see kids make decisions. We see lower teen pregnancy. We see fewer kids drop out of school. We see kids change their attitudes, stop getting in fights, and now breaking up fights on campus. We see these things and we notice the difference.
Are you involved, and how involved, and to what extent? What is your role in your relationship with the school departments?
We are welcome on the school campuses as long as we follow the laws of the land, which we do. And we.
What campuses are there?
Well, for example, all the Fresno Unified Schools. We assist and help kids run student-led clubs on campus. We offer opportunities after school that we call Campus Life. Middle school campuses like Clark Middle School, Glacier, Fort Miller, high school campuses like Sunnyside, Edison. The Clovis schools now can access our Campus Life Center on Chestnut and Shepherd, which we alluded to.
They won't let you on campus, though?
Well, we can. We can walk onto campus with permission of the administration. We always go at the pleasure of the administration. We're never going to force our way onto a campus, but we ask if the administration will allow us as Youth for Christ, as an external organization, to come and connect with kids. And when we do connect with kids, we then get to know them, and then we can later invite them to opportunities after school.
Let me just ask you about Clovis Unified just briefly. Have you gotten a kind of a chilly reception from them as compared to Fresno Unified?
Well, I don't know if I would call it chilly. We have great relationships with administrators all over. We have great relationships with, the leadership of the different districts. But I will say that.
But not as open though with Clovis.
Districts do things differently. Some are more cautious. Some are more hesitant. But and I would say that Clovis is one that has, things under. Certainly under control to watch out and care for their kids. And we respect that. We'll work within the rules of any administration.
So they're more cautious than Fresno Unified?
I don't know if I would say more, but can I be safe and say it's different? It is.
Okay.
There is a different set of guidelines and principles in each district.
And what does Fresno Unified allow you to do? They allow you to come onto a school campus, like you said. You've mentioned various schools like Sunnyside and Edison. So you come onto campus, and what is it specifically that you do? It's an after-school type program?
Sure. Let me refer, first of all, to a very important law that we abide by. It's called the Equal Access Law.
Okay.
This was passed at the Supreme Court level, which basically said if you have a stamp club, if you have any kind of club, a drama club, student-led clubs of any kind, then if you have one kind of club, then you should be able to have every kind of club. And so students now have the right to have a Christian club on campus.
Okay.
Well, many students don't have the impetus or resources to run a club. That's where we come in. We help them do what they want to do, and that is run a great Christian club on campus. That's a big part of what we do is support and resource and help kids facilitate those on-campus clubs.
All right, let me drop a scenario. Edison High School, I'm just going to bring that up because it's down the street here. So an after-school program would entail what? You go into a classroom?
Well, at Edison, today there is a club called the Life Club, and we help resource that club. So student leaders at Edison,
after school,
during school, at
school.
lunchtime, have their lunchtime club, just like you'd have the stamp club.
You're kidding?
Just like you'd have
in the cafeteria?
In a classroom where a teacher has provided an open door and a teacher oversees that club to make sure everything's in order.
So what do they talk about?
Well, the kids love to talk about how they can make a change, positive change on campus. They'll talk about their relationship with Christ. They'll share their own story of their own faith journey. And because the law provides for equal access, they can do that on campus. Outside of instructional hours, they can have their club on campus.
So either during lunchtime or after school hours?
They can do that after school as well.
On campus?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so I'm just trying to get a handle on this and try to visualize this in my mind. So you get, how many on average do you get in one of these classrooms?
You might have 10 kids, you might have 40 kids. And the kids might also do an outreach in the gym once or twice a year, which brings 300 kids. And it's kid-oriented and kid-led, student-led.
Is it making an impact? And if it is, how do you know it is? What's the gauge? What's telling you that these kids are making a difference? I mean, give me an example where a troubled kid on campus, either at Sunnyside or at Edison High, has turned his life or her life around based on one of these meetings that took place on campus.
Okay. I would say that one example, and I hesitate to use kids' names, obviously.
Don't use the names.
Okay, sure.
That's fine.
An example of a young lady who was a teenage mom. So she was 14 or 15 years old, had her first baby.
All right.
And she found out that there was a club meeting on campus for teenage parents.
Okay.
And we have that today at Roosevelt. We have it at other campuses.
McLean?
McLean, we do have a club, not a teen parents club.
Okay.
Madera schools have opportunities for teen parents. Right. And so she went to this club. We brought free pizza and soda, and we had an opportunity just to chat, not necessarily about faith-based things, but about life skills, taking care of your baby. Now that you're a mommy, how are you going to deal with this? Now that you're a teenage mom, how are you going to get through high school? What decisions do you have to make to get through high school?
And college.
And college, for that matter. This young lady caught the vision, ended up coming to our evening opportunities with the Parent Life, what we call our Parent Life program, meeting up with adult women mentors, and engaged with those adult women. And over the course of 2 or 3 years, she finished school. She went to continuing education and got her EMT as an EMT, and had held down a couple of jobs while she did that. Ultimately got her own apartment, became an EMT on an ambulance, and now has just in the last few months gotten married, and she's got her own little family. This is one example of many.
How old is she now?
She is, so this would be about 6-7 years ago, so she is 21 or 22.
Yeah, that's a great story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how is there a gauge? Like we know in television, we have the Nielsen ratings. We can tell, okay, we're doing well because the ratings are up or the ratings are down. What gauge do you use to measure success?
That is another fantastic question, because it's a difficult business to gauge. Attitudes changing. But one thing you can do is you can provide a survey before and a survey after. I'll give you an example. We have been invited into the juvenile hall, the Fresno Juvenile Justice Campus, to offer an optional fatherhood class to the young men in the Juvenile Justice Campus.
Purpose of that would be?
Many of whom are teen dads already. They're teenage dads. They're incarcerated. When they get out, they're going to go home to a girlfriend who has a baby, and they need to make decisions about that. So we have the opportunity to teach them how to be great dads, and we would say Christian dads, as an option for them to think about.
So basically you're going into a facility before they are released.
Right. Giving them the opportunity to opt in to a fatherhood class where they learn about being a great dad.
Right.
And some of those young men, we have them fill
Hang on, caller.
We have them fill out a survey before, and then we have them fill out a survey 14 weeks later after the fatherhood class, and we see vast differences in their attitudes about being a father.
All right, caller, you're on the air with Ed Kaczmark. He is the Executive Director of Youth for Christ, trying to do some good here in the Central Valley by helping teens, youth who are in trouble or are in need. What's your question or comment, please?
Yeah, how do you get involved with you guys? I mean, I see that you guys have straight-laced people, but you guys do need a couple of hardcore people that have changed. I mean, kids will listen to people when they know it's true.
Oh, like maybe you're talking about he needs a couple of
Lead by
ex-gang members to help him
They listen to you.
that know what street life is all about. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, someone who actually lives this. I mean, personally, daily, I work with kids in my neighborhood. I've got at least 7 of them that were all locked up. Now none of them are. They're all going to school. What we really need for these kids is jobs.
Yeah. What's your comment?
Well, you sound like the kind of person that we'd like to talk to. We have had several former gang members, several formerly incarcerated individuals who have turned their lives around, oftentimes because of mentoring like we're talking about, and then want to give back, want to get back into that work. And Youth for Christ can help mobilize people like you, frankly. If you'd like to talk to us, I would encourage you to go to our website right away. yfcnow.org is our website. There's application information and a way to apply online, and we'd love to talk to you.
Are you talking about being a volunteer?
Being a volunteer or even a staff member. We do have some staff opportunities.
Okay.
And
staff opportunities for what? What job? Like
well,
being a counselor?
Ironically, this gentleman who just called sounds like the kind of guy who might be a staff member who goes into the Fresno Juvenile Justice Campus, oversees our 40-some volunteers that are there right now, and helps train and guide them, making sure programs are effective and efficient in the juvenile hall.
Caller, go ahead. A little short on time, but go ahead.
I'm absolutely with you. You guys are awesome. Keep doing what you're doing, bro. I'll definitely get in contact with you.
Love it. I appreciate it. We'll look forward to hearing from you.
All right. Thank you much for the call. Appreciate you watching. 436 MeTV option 11. And you didn't think anybody watched our program, right? See, they're watching. Somebody's watching. Anyway, call in 436 MeTV option 11. Give out your telephone number before we go to break here.
Sure. Our office number is, of course, 559-237-4741.
All right, Ed Kaczmark, Executive Director, Youth for Christ, back with more of our program here. Connect with me, MeTV Fresno, in just a moment.
Tune in to Heartland for the best in true country music. Relive vintage specials, one-of-a-kind concerts, and country music's earliest videos. Heartland is the heart of country, the only place where you can find country music, country stars, and country lifestyles 24/7. Heartland, the heart of country.
Now on channel 13.2. Not sure what you're watching? Want to see what's coming up next? Or just want to browse what's on without the hassle of flipping channels? Your wish has come true. Now you can view schedules for all the digital TV channels available in the Central Valley. Get local weather updates and forecasts, and listen to nationally syndicated Biz Talk Radio, all on KBHF 4.1. Rescan your TV now, then tune in to digital channel 4.1 to start enjoying the all-new TV guide.
So welcome to the Campus Life Center. Looks pretty good now, but I guarantee you it hasn't always been in this condition. And I thought I would just tell you a little bit of the story of how we got to this point. I've been with Youth for Christ about 11 years. And when I first started, we had about 25 different ministry sites or locations throughout Fresno and Madera counties. The ministry is growing well and growing. We added more ministry at our downtown location on Divisadero. We call it our City Life Center. We work with kids in the downtown setting, in the urban setting, and giving them opportunities, activities for them to do. And we found such success with having a ministry center that we really started to think and pray as a board about what could we do additionally that might reach more kids for Christ. So we started talking and praying about another center. We decided that we wanted to reach every kid throughout Fresno, and we thought about having a center in North Fresno. And that's when we came up with the idea of building or remodeling a place and calling it the Campus Life Center. And that's what we have today. Around 2012, the YFC board and I began really seeking God on what new territory He might have for us, for the ministry of YFC. Because we know His heart is for every kid, and every kid to know Him. So we really started to wonder if there's something else for us to do. And already we have grown with over 40 different ministry sites, campus clubs, institutions, different meeting times for students, incarcerated youth, teenage parents. And when our City Life Center downtown, in downtown Fresno, really started taking off, we realized what an amazing tool a building can be for ministry, a facility where kids can come. This also with a sense that the northern part of Fresno needed some kind of physical location, convinced us to step out in faith.
All right, back here on the program, that was Ed Kaczmark in the video showing you that new location in Northeast Fresno, the Executive Director of Youth for Christ. What is that home again, and what is that used for? Because we saw the inside of it just briefly.
Well, we saw the first part of that video that tells you the story of why would Youth for Christ take the effort and time and find the finances to create a what essentially is a youth retreat center in North Fresno.
So retreat meaning what, and how many go there to do what?
We believe that kids need a place to go sort out life. They need a place with blue sky and a safe place to go and connect with other kids and connect with caring adults.
So they stay there, what, for the weekend or what?
No, they will come, and what we have going at the center, which is, it's really right in the middle of Clovis North, Clovis West, and Buchanan. It's just a couple of minutes drive from each. Seniors can come off campus and go to lunch during the school year. Right now it's been on Wednesdays.
So they don't stay overnight there?
No, they'll come in and connect with us.
Just because it's a house, it's not overnight. It's for a few hours.
We've converted into something like a student Starbucks is what it is.
Really?
They'll come and get free food and drink, come and connect with one another, meet our caring adults, and our adults will invite them to programs later in the evening that they can come to, like our Campus Life meeting, which is on
like
Tuesdays.
A 3-bedroom house or what?
It was a it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house that we've converted into just a fantastic game room, coffee shop looking place you can hang out and meet, and of course other meeting spaces as well.
And the cost of that home was what?
Well, we
especially built for you?
We purchased a property thanks to many donors who came and helped us. We remodeled it thanks to many companies who supported us with resources and labor.
Right.
Grand total is probably about $800,000 when you look at the whole deal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. All from donations.
All from donations. We're still pulling the finances together to pay off the note. But we're on our way to finishing that. But it's already operational. I want to be really clear about that. We opened it up in October. Kids have been coming by the hundreds, and we've got a swimming pool in the back, a gazebo, a fire pit. We've had barbecues. We've had parties. We've even had, different things like wedding receptions or whatnot are possible on that property.
So do they have to get permission from their parents, family members to come in?
We have signed releases where we have kids get permission. If it's a drop-in situation, just like they're dropping into a Starbucks, there's not necessarily a permission for the first drop-in. But if they're involved in any kind of transportation or any kind of events that we do, we have a standard release form that we ask them to bring to their parent or guardian.
All right. In the video, you talked about the 23 ministries at the time maybe that video was taken or recorded. How many ministries or locations do you have now? And when I say the word ministries, I know what the word means, but what do you mean by the word ministries?
We have 35 different ministries, which are just like outposts, a place where a kid can connect with a caring adult.
Like that house?
Like that house. That would be one of our outposts.
So that house is a ministry?
It is a ministry site,
so we have 35 locations in the area that do exactly that.
Whether it's University High Club, Clovis East, Madera North, whether it's the Juvenile Hall, whether it's meeting at New Covenant Church, which we do with our Parent Life Club. All of these are ministry sites or outposts where kids can connect with us.
And let me talk to you about budgetary stuff here just for a brief moment. It's a non-profit organization. Where do you get any federal grants, state grants?
We have had very few grants. We do get gifts from foundations that are supportive. Oftentimes, even if they're not religious, they're supportive of our mission, which is really helping kids make better choices. But most of our finances, by far and away, most of our finances, 90% plus, comes from individuals and businesses who love our mission.
What do you take in a year, would you say,
on
average?
You can find this in public domain, but we're around a $1 million organization. And that per year, and that pays for 15 staff and all of the activities that we do daily at Youth for Christ.
15 full-time staffers. Okay.
Well, not full-time. It's a mix of full and part. But and that's something to mention is we do have part-time staff opportunities as well as well as some full-time.
Right, to get, yeah, okay, I understand. So how do you reach a kid that's a non-Christian?
We, first of all, are not shy about connecting with kids, and this is where it starts on campus.
But when you start talking about Christ to a kid that's Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, whatever, that kid's going to be turned off.
You know what, John? I think the best way in any relationship, the best way to build a relationship is not to force your beliefs on anybody. The best way to build a relationship is to say, nice to meet you. Who are you? What do you believe in? What do you love?
Your organization is based on the theory is it's based on the Bible, Christ, the second coming of Christ, which hasn't happened yet according to Christians, and so that's the foundation of your organization. How do you get through to a kid that's a non-Christian?
I would like to say that I affirm that our foundation is a Christian foundation, but I would like to say that the real guts, the real cornerstone of our ministry is relationship. Okay. So we get in relationship with kids. Well, it starts with relationship. It does not start with religion.
Okay.
We will share our faith, but as we said earlier, at no time will we turn away a kid because they don't like or don't buy our faith. We love to be in a relationship with kids. We love to see kids make better choices, have better lives, learn how to deal with their parents that they're having trouble with, learn how to deal with one another on campus. That's what we love. We love the relationship part. If you look at our logo, and you can see it on our website, I'll plug that again, yfcnow.org. Our logo is 3 rings connected. 2 of those rings are a caring adult and a kid. We love to connect relationships.
What's the 3rd ring?
The 3rd ring is God. Okay. It's God's story. We connect 3 stories, the kid's story to our story and our story to God's story. And ultimately, we might get the opportunity to share God's story with a kid.
Yeah. Your organization is tied into Billy Graham. All right. Tell me the story about, because I only read about it online, and how many people actually know that Billy Graham was only played a small role in starting this organization, and I don't even know if it was on purpose. Maybe it happened by accident. Is that how it happened?
It's interesting, John. It really was a kind of a firestorm, an impromptu, spontaneous combustion.
1944
in 1944, yeah. A guy named Torrey Johnson, basically, who was a preacher himself
in Chicago,
had this idea that we've really got to help, especially the young people coming back from the war over in Europe.
Yeah.
They're coming back aimless, they're coming back after tragedy, and they're lost. We need to help these young people get back on track.
Was that the foundation for
That was
this?
the foundation of it.
Is to help the veterans coming back from World War II?
Help veterans, and yes, the young people that were involved at the time, many of them teenagers, coming back aimlessly. And that started with big rallies. They would rent out an auditorium and scrap together the money to rent an auditorium and put on music shows with discussions and then ultimately talking about Christ and an opportunity to follow Christ. And then within 1 or 2 years, Billy Graham came into the fold and was recognized as a powerful preacher, and he became the first full-time paid staff of Youth for Christ nationally.
Yes, but he didn't really become so well known until maybe, I would say, the 60s.
He was only with Youth for Christ about 3 or 4 years.
Right.
We can jokingly say we launched Billy Graham. Well, he was a part of Youth for Christ, a significant part in the early days, and then went off and did the Billy Graham Association.
So is the organization based on the philosophy that Billy Graham had at the time?
You know, we have a saying that we say repeatedly, and that is that Youth for Christ is geared to the times, but anchored to the rock. So we'll always be anchored to the rock that we call
and who's the rock?
Jesus Christ is the rock.
Okay.
He's the cornerstone of our faith.
And where does Billy Graham fit in?
And Billy Graham was one leader who came in early on and helped to grow Youth for Christ. He was a lifetime evangelist who our heartbeat is evangelism. In other words, being anchored to the rock of Christ and sharing who Christ is, but we're also always geared to the times. You know, today, the rally style of evangelism is not what Youth for Christ majors in. We major in those one-on-one relationships and small group opportunities.
Yeah, if you were to explain to somebody, if you were to, and I'm sure you give many speeches, or do you? I don't know. Do you give many speeches during the course of the year?
We do.
You
yeah.
personally.
Sure. I have
Who do you
opportunities.
speak to?
Well, I've had opportunities at Rotary clubs, at our banquets and our fundraising events. And I've spoken to kids at schools, for example. Spoken to different community organizations that want to hear about Youth for Christ. Churches give opportunities.
And when have you run into anybody who says to you, "I've never heard of Youth for Christ. What is it? What do you do? What's your mission statement?" Your answer is?
There aren't many people who haven't heard of us at all because we've been a long-serving organization.
There are
We've
probably a few.
Impacted a lot of people.
Maybe mostly young people that haven't heard of it, right?
Well, and I would say
old guys like you and me, we've
that's
heard
right.
of it,
Sure.
but maybe some of the younger
Sure.
maybe some of the millennials haven't heard of Youth for Christ, right?
Right.
And what do you tell them? What's the answer?
What I would say is we're all about teenagers, we're all about kids, and we're all about building relationships with kids, which ultimately will lead to the opportunity to share with them about who Jesus Christ is in our life, because Christ has changed our lives.
Okay. All right. We're going to take a break here. Ed Kaczmark is here. If you have any questions, call in. If you have any comments, call in. 436-MeTV, option 11. Don't be bashful. We're here for the next 15 minutes or so. Back with your phone calls and our guest in a moment.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the Samsung big screen we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start. But you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Time for that upgrade to an HD 3D web-enabled Samsung TV. Get the best selection, price, and service in town without waiting. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
At approximately 4:30 this afternoon, we received a 911 call of a victim of a gunshot wound here in the 2200 block of East Tyler. Our officers responded. Upon their arrival, they did locate what appears to be a Hispanic male in his early 40s suffering from a gunshot wound. EMS arrived on scene. Unfortunately, they were not able to revive the subject, and he was pronounced deceased here at the location. Currently, we have our homicide detectives on scene. They are attempting to gather evidence, locate witnesses. At this time, we do not have any suspect information, so we're asking the public, if anybody has any information about this shooting, to please call Crime Stoppers or contact the police department. That information would be very helpful in this investigation.
Is the subject that deceased, did he live in this area? You guys know that?
He did live in the general area, a few houses from where we're being told a few houses from where he was found. Again, we don't know the circumstances of the shooting. That's something that the detectives on scene are going to be attempting to determine.
That courtesy of the Fresno Bee, the video there, and that scene all too familiar here in the city of Fresno this year, with murders creeping up to near 40. And we're almost into August now, 4 months left in the year, so we could creep up to maybe 80. 90, who knows at this pace what we're going to end up with. But that scene, another homicide right there. And so Ed Kaczmark is here. He is the executive director of Youth for Christ. Many of these shootings, many of these homicides obviously are gang related. And if you talk to the Fresno Police Department, like I've talked to them, most are gang related. Gang violence is up. They're up to 30, 40 gangs right here in the city of Fresno, gang members. Recently, Jerry Dyer, the police chief, called on some of these gang members to call for a ceasefire. And actually, quite frankly, Ed, I've never heard of a police chief asking gang members to, hey, ceasefire. Have you?
You know, I know that Jerry is unique and very involved in the community, very involved with not only his department and the Fresno government, but very involved with churches and other organizations that are trying to call for ceasefire. And I know they've had special meetings with gang members, giving them opportunities to step out of gangs.
But you know what that tells me, okay? And I'm just being very frank here, and I can't be anything else but frank on this program because, I mean, people are going to see through it if you're not honest, right? The honest truth is, and the truth of the matter is that it sounds like it's a sign of weakness. We don't have control of this situation, so please, gang members, call for a ceasefire. We're asking for your help because we can't control you. Am I right?
How I look at it, John, is if you appeal to the deep sense of logic in someone's heart and mind,
right,
that maybe they will, a percentage will come to their senses and stop the violence.
But
because
can
it's
it be
ridiculous for a kid
perceived-
to be shot.
Can it be perceived in the way that I described it?
I suppose that it could. I suppose that it could. But
A sign of weakness.
Having been involved in, understanding a little bit about gang culture and knowing some people who have been in and out of gangs and chosen out, believe it or not, they are people with feelings just like us. And to go in and to respectfully say, look, you've got two choices, life or death. Sometimes that really opens the eyes of a gang member and says, wow, I got to make a decision to get out of this.
All right, this caller's been patient. Andy, you're on the line with Ed. What's your question, comment on this day?
Yeah, mine is, I've never heard of you, but I do have a teenage daughter that we've had a disconnect for maybe 3 or 4 years now. And so she's a teenage girl, and we've gotten to the point where she could yell at me and tell me she hates my guts because I'm trying to get her to study or to get off the internet and be more active or whatever. And she hasn't been in gangs or anything like that, but she will. She, like I said, she's mouthy. She told me that she hates my guts. But I was wondering, with your organization, I mean, how is it that if I was to say drive her down to your organization, wouldn't that make her more resentful because I'm forcing her to go into your organization and say maybe they can help you? Wouldn't that?
That's a great question.
Wouldn't that make her more?
Hang on, caller. Hang on. Let him answer.
Towards me? I mean,
Yeah, don't hang up. Just let him answer. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to first invite the caller to call me again offline at our office number 237-4741 because this is a much longer conversation. Again,
just give us the short answer,
well,
if you would, as long as you're here.
And I've got my own teenagers. It starts with listening to your teenager, with setting aside time, uninterrupted, to be able to listen to where their heart is at. And then you can provide opportunities, and teenagers are coming into their own where they're looking for respect, they're looking for who they are. Okay. Who am I? What person am I? Well, they're already starting to push back at 14, some of them 13. I see it at 14, and by 15, 16, those kids are just about done in the cooker, and they've, you still can influence their life, but as far as telling them what to do without pushback, those days are going away, because that's what you could do when they were little children.
His daughter says, hang on, caller, hang on, caller, hang on. When his daughter says, I hate you, do you think that she really means that?
I think that in most cases what that is a call for help. It's a request for independence. And I think it means that this teenager is trying to separate themselves from their parents, which is a normal and healthy thing. Okay. But they're young, their minds are not developed. She doesn't know how to voice that. Okay. And so it starts with listening. I'm not saying it's easy. It's not easy with my kids, but it starts with listening and love and lots of patience, and then going from there. But I would love to talk offline with anybody about that kind of concept.
Caller, you're back on the air now. What's your comment again?
Yeah, I mean, it just seems that we had about maybe a few months, about maybe a few weeks ago, and so she was, I don't need you for this, I don't need you for that, and I said, well, okay, that's fine. If you don't need me for anything, that's fine. Just be on, get to school yourself and so forth, and then that'll be fine. If you don't need me for anything, that's fine. And then a couple of weeks later, she's back saying, hey, can you pick me up at school? Can you pick me up for this? Can you pick me up for that? And it's like, I'm like, well, I mean, she got good grades in summer school. She had to go back to summer school because she got poor grades during school. Yeah. And she asked me, well, are you happy that I got good grades in summer school? And I said, well, of course I'm happy. But I told her, I really want you to be happy for yourself.
Yeah.
To be selfish when it comes to those kind of things, because it's your life, not mine. You got to be happy with your life. It doesn't matter if I'm happy. It's whether you're happy or not. And I told her, and I told her to be selfish with that. Whether you're getting good grades, whether you're going to school, whether you're getting good grades over, because it's your life. You got to live your life. I can't live it for you.
Yeah.
You know, so I always tell, get good grades in school now, because when you go to college, it's gonna be hard if you don't. You know, and as you keep going through life, if you don't do things now and better yourself now, it's going to get harder for you in the future.
Yeah.
And so I keep telling her, be selfish for yourself.
Absolutely.
You know, do things for yourself.
Caller, it sounds like you're a pretty good father. I don't know, how old is your daughter?
Well, she's 16 now. I mean, our disconnect started when she pretty much towards the end of her 6th grade year, entering middle school.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of she wants to do things, but she wants to be on her own. Like you said, she wants to be an adult, but then she sees that she can't do things by herself. She needs help, but she doesn't want the help. She wants to be able to take it and not be responsible for that help.
Kids are lost. Okay, kind of caller, thank you for the information. I appreciate it. All right. So to answer the caller's question, if you see you're having trouble with your teenager, and I have 2 teenagers too. I got a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old. So I know what he's going through. So, but my kids, I mean, they're really, they don't give me too much of a problem. But they're normal teenagers. There are flare-ups with every family. I don't care if you come from a divorced family, if you're married, and both parents are in the house. You still have those moments where these teens are going to flare up in this day and age. Mm-hmm. It's 2017. It's not 1965. It's 1965. You flared up. Your parents hit you across the head. You can't do that now.
Right.
Okay? It's a different world we live in. So for this guy to take his daughter and forcefully bring him down to Youth for Christ, would she be resentful?
Yeah, I think he's right on being careful about forcing her to do anything. What we want to do is listen and ask those questions. She's caught between being a kid and an adult. She's trying to find herself.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to point out that
30
was
seconds left,
a really bright point of that conversation is, did you notice she asked her dad, "Aren't you happy that I got good grades? Does that make you happy?"
What's that a sign of?
Well, Andy, not all is lost in this relationship. She is looking to you as her father. Even though she badly wants to be an adult, she still is your child, and she's looking for affirmation.
Ed, I got to go. I don't want to get cut off. We got to go into network programming, but I appreciate your time.
My
Come
pleasure.
back again on the program, and good luck.
Thank you, John. I'd love to.
All right.
Appreciate
Ed Kaczmark, the Executive Director of Youth for Christ. And the telephone number really quick again.
237-4741 and yfcnow.org.
All right. Thank you, Ed. Tomorrow, Doug Vagum, our friend, right here on Connect with Me, MeTV Fresno. Have a good day.
And away we go.
Here's the place that makes you smile. Stick around and stay a while. We're the home of great TV. That's memorable. That's me.
Follow me, sir.
Call them classics, call them the best. Call them favorites, be a guest. Every day there's more to come. Watch and see, there's only one. Me TV.
All you have to do is watch me.
Are you kidding me?
Follow me.
That's memorable. That's me.
That's me.
Me TV.
Tune in to Heartland for the best in true country music. Relive vintage specials, one-of-a-kind concerts, and country music's earliest videos. Heartland is the heart of country, the only place where you can find country music, country stars, and country lifestyles 24/7.